What's going on, everybody? My name is Derek. Welcome to my channel. So today I wanted to switch things up a little bit. For the last several videos, have done more of the sort of self-help-ish kind of vibe, and I wanted to switch it up a little bit and do a video where I kind of tell stories again. I was trying to think of what to talk about, and I decided, hey, let's do a 5 facts about me, as narcissistic as that sounds. But in doing the list and thinking of these things that I thought might be interesting, I hit one that I found interesting, and I decided, let's just do a video about this alone. So what I want to talk about today is my career as a baseball player. And my career spanned from age 8 to age 16. I retired very young. I did everything I could. I fulfilled my dreams as a non-professional child athlete, and I moved on with my life. So, but baseball has always been my favorite sport to watch. I just don't get to watch it at all anymore. I mean, my Boston Red Sox, the team I like, that I'm a fan of, are in the playoffs right now. I haven't watched one game, so that's a bummer. But I played a bunch of sports. I played basketball. I used to wrestle. I used to take swim. Like, I was in the swim league or swim classes at the YMCA. I was in a bowling league for 4 years, so my mother kept me pretty busy. But baseball is what I played the most. I would love to say I played it because that's what I was best at, but I was pretty much bad at all of it. But, you do what you do. It's fun. You hang out with your friends, and it's good fun. So I played for 2 leagues. The first league was SSYAA, which stands for Sanford Springvale Youth Athletic Association. Sanford, Springvale being the towns I grew up in Maine. And there's a subset of leagues within that league: junior league, senior league. Junior league is age 8 and 9. Senior league is 10, 11, 12. And then you jump to, these ages are a little off, but then you jump to the Babe Ruth League, which was in a different part of town, totally separate. Really cool baseball league, great baseball park, just awesome. Awesome youth league. Ages, I think, 13 to 16, somewhere around there. So it's 3 years there. So my 2 years in the junior league under the SSYAA league, I played 2 years. The name of the team was Central Television. So one of the local businesses that sponsored that team. We wore green. And I still have my first glove. I have my 2 gloves that I've ever owned that I played with through my 8 years of baseball. I still have them. So that first glove, again, I was 8 years old, so I'm 43 now. So what's that? 35 years now I've had that glove. Pretty awesome, and it's still great. It's in great condition. I have very foggy memories of the first 2 years. I know I played outfield. I played first base, and that's all I can remember. I don't have any crazy stories about my first 2 years in baseball. Like I said, I wasn't very good. I'm sure I got a hit here and there. But those 2 years kind of just escaped me. I don't think the team was very good in general. My coach's name was Obi, who was the father of a close friend of mine that I went to school with. So he was really fun. He was really cool. He was one of those fun coaches. But we weren't very good. So then we graduate to the senior league, which is 3 years. I played on a team called the DuBois Brothers, which, again, I think it was an insurance company, a local insurance company. So they were the sponsor for that team. And now I have some memories. The first memory is kind of cruel because I remember my first at-bat with the team. First at-bat, first year as senior leaguer, first game, first at-bat, just brand new season, brand new league, brand new team. First at-bat, I can't say it's the first pitch. I don't know if it was the first pitch, but I hit a home run. Now, how the home run worked in this field was there wasn't a fence that you hit over. If you hit the ball far enough, it would roll into another baseball field. It was like two baseball fields kind of facing each other with a long, big space in between. And I managed to crack this ball clear into the other ball field, far enough for me to be able to run around and just circle the bases and make it to home, and hit a home run. Now, I was not a fast kid. I was a rather chunky kid. So I somehow crushed the baseball. And to this day, I can still feel that hit. For anyone that's never really hit a baseball with a bat, when you hit a pitch right in the meat of the bat, right where the bat kind of circles up and then becomes sort of like the cylinder section. If you hit it in the perfect spot, you don't feel it. It feels like the ball bounces off the bat, just like if it was a tennis ball with a racket. It just pong. It doesn't vibrate the bat, doesn't hurt. There's that sweet spot, and the ball will just explode off the bat. And often, if you're watching Major League Baseball, when these guys smack a home run over the wall, it's because they hit it right in the meat of the bat. And I'll never forget that feeling. And the next feeling I felt was the next 3 years of never hitting a baseball like that ever again in my life. That's the cruel part. Man, I thought this is great. I've really come along. Teammates were like, dude, oh my God. Now I was going to be looked at as the home run guy or the guy that gets hits. And man, yeah, we want him up to bat. And then I sucked there forward. Like I got a little taste of what it's like to have people cheering for you and happy, and that little boost of confidence, and then that completely dissipated and just disappeared on me. So I'm sure I got my base hits here and there, but nothing like that. That was there's a story coming up where I have some fun with hitting and having some luck hitting the ball. But during my senior league era, those 3 years I played in the senior league, I was subpar hitter. The next thing that happened was by this time I'm playing first base a lot. I would say year 2 of the senior league. I'll never forget it. I was in the dugout, which is where all the players are just hanging out. You got a little bench, a little concrete, box, sort of like patio thing that you sit in that has a roof on it, and you just sit in there and eat sunflower seeds and M&Ms and try not to stink up the joint. But so the catcher. I can't remember the kid that was playing the catcher, but the catcher couldn't play or didn't make it to the game or got hurt, something. Now, if you're not familiar with the sport and what a catcher is, the guy behind the plate, the pitcher throws the ball, and the guy that catches it that's crouched down, that's the catcher. And he's got all the gear on, the face mask, the padding on the chest pad, the leg pads, everything, leg guards. So we needed a catcher. And the coach was just like, hey, does anyone want to be the catcher today? And I made a decision that I look back on and regret. I was like, I will. And thus started my career as a baseball catcher. And talk about stink city. I was not good at this position at all. I hated it because, A, it's an uncomfortable position, the way you're crouched down and everything. It's hot under the mask and everything, but also it's hard catching pitches. Fastballs coming your way. If it's a bad pitch and you miss it, the ball flies past you. If there's a guy on first base, he runs to second. Or if he's on third base, then he comes home. That runner from third to home scored a run because I missed the ball. And that happened so much. And it was so embarrassing. And it was so bad. And I just didn't do well. But yet, I became the catcher. It was like there was no turning back. All of a sudden, this other kid wasn't the catcher anymore. I just became a catcher. And looking back on it, I wish I didn't become a catcher. Because it was a nerve-wracking position to play. I think they liked me being catcher too because I was big-bodied. So maybe I took up more space. But it became sort of unfun for me. But I plowed through. The other part about catching is the actual hand, like the left hand. You're catching the balls with your left hand. And if you get a fastball, even in the senior youth league, an 11-year-old can throw a baseball hard. And if you catch it wrong, it hurts your thumb. You can bruise your knuckles, especially later on in the older league that I played in. My hand was always beat up, which made me timid. So when a fastball was coming, I was like, "Oh my God!" and then I'd miss it, and it was awful. But you do what you do. So I kind of just get through that league, and then I decide to play in the Babe Ruth League. So now it jumps to a totally different ballpark. It's a really nice ballpark, actual dimensions of a major league field, like a real fence, where the fence is center field's like 400 feet out, and really cool. So there was no home runs from me in that field, that's for sure. But the team was Shop and Save. So now that's a grocery chain in Sanford and Springvale. Well, no, just Sanford, which is now called Hannaford. Many of you, if not all of you, are a follower and subscriber to my mother's channel. You should all know Hannaford by now. Hannaford, as they say in man. Hannafords. First year I started as catcher. Now I'm dealing with really fast pitches. It's just a different ball game. And I'm not good. Not good at all. A lot of runs are scored because I miss balls. They fly by me, and runners, circle the bases and come into home. And some of the pitches I would get were way outside. Like, it was hard for me to get to. So you can kind of blame the pitcher on that. But there were plenty of pitches that were within a nice zone where I should have been able to catch that thing, and it's just right by me. So the other one was low pitches. If they pitched low, it'd go right through my legs. So by this time, the games are more important. The league is a higher end league, so the coaches take it more seriously. It's all about winning. So my career as a catcher ended after the first year. And then that's when the term is ride the pine. That term means that you don't play every game. You sit in the dugout on the bench and then pretend the bench is made of pine, ride the pine. You just sit back. And you're what's called a reserve player. So you come in later in the game if someone gets hurt or if someone just gets tired or whatever. But then sometimes you just don't play. Sometimes you just don't play the game. And when I would play, it would be in the outfield, which then that was a whole other debacle because looking back on it, I mean, I was wearing glasses, which definitely comes into play here in a minute, the fact that I wore glasses. But my eyesight wasn't very good. The ball would be popped way up. I'd have to get underneath the ball and miss it. Oh, dang it. I had a good throwing arm, though. So there was a couple times where I was in the outfield that was like a ground ball that came out to me. and threw it in, and then the second baseman caught it and turned around and threw it home, runner out. That's an awesome play. So I had a strong arm. I could throw the ball. That's about all I had. And so that's all I did. That's all I did. So second year was that. Sometimes I'd play right field, center field, left field. And then there were games I didn't play at all. And it was like that up until quite literally the last game ever that I ever played. The last game, last season, Babe Ruth League. And out of nowhere, I think the coach might have felt bad for me. He wanted me in the game. And I'm not the only one that's riding the pine. There's other kids on the team that do that. It's a common thing. I wasn't being punished. It just is what it is. You know, there were other kids in the dugout with me that didn't play as much either. We weren't starters, put it that way. So no woe is me. It is what it is. But I think the coach wanted me and other guys that were in that same place to play a little more towards the end of the season, just to let us have some fun. And I think it was extra important for him to let me play because he knew it was my last game. I certainly wasn't moving on to high school ball and all that stuff. So he put me at first base, which is the position I always liked playing. That's where I felt most comfortable. And I was like, all right. And I remember the first baseman that normally plays was upset. He's like, really? I can't play today because you're letting Derek play first base? My coach's name was Tony Jack. I remember his name now. And kudos to that coach. He let me play first base. It was awesome. And sure enough, maybe because I'm in a good mood or I'm comfortable or I'm just happy, I don't know. I feel like I'm contributing to the team. I end up having a great game. I'm getting hits. I had a couple plays at first where the ground ball to second or third or whatever, and they throw it into first base, and I'd get the guy out of the bag. And there was one time, which was a really nice, fun play. Let me paint the picture here. There's a guy on third base, and then the batter hits a ground ball to second base. I get on the bag. Second baseman throws it to me. I catch it before the runner hits the bag. Out. I look to my left. Well, the guy on third is trying to be sneaky and steal and go to home plate to score a run. And I use my arm, again, the only asset I have, and I rifle, as you would say, the throw to the catcher, and bam, out at home plate. And that was awesome. And you have that moment where everyone's happy at you. Everyone's like, yay, Derek. I didn't have a lot of those, so it felt good. So I was just having a great day, great game, so happy. And then it comes to a screeching halt. Let's revisit the fact that I'm wearing glasses, all right? So one of the traditions in baseball, and the major leaguers still do this to this day, what you do is before the next inning starts, you kind of warm up. The pitcher throws, 20 throws, just gets 5 minutes to just throw pitches to the catcher just to kind of warm up before the next half inning starts. While that is happening, the first baseman will have a ball. First baseman will throw it on the ground to the second baseman. You just kind of, and you let it roll to the second baseman, and he picks it up. So it's sort of like giving him practice at what would be a ground ball, like if someone actually hit it to him. So you do that to the second baseman. Then as first baseman, you go to the bag, you cover the bag, you step on the bag, and then he throws it to you. Pow. So that now gives me practice to seem like someone hit it to him and I'm actually in a real play where I just got somebody out at first base. Do the same thing for the shortstop. Again, and I'm sorry if you're not familiar with this sport a whole lot. I'm trying my best to kind of paint the picture here, but if you're looking at a baseball field, you got the first baseman on the right, the next guy is second baseman, the next guy over is a shortstop player, and then you get the third baseman. So I roll the ball to the shortstop guy, he throws it back. Roll it to the third base player, third baseman, base player, that's funny. Third baseman, he throws it back. And you go back to the second baseman, and then shortstop guy, and then you just go in a circle. And you're just feeding these guys ground balls, throwing it to them, and then they throw it back in a real throw that's not a ground ball. So we're going around doing our thing, and I throw the ground ball to the third baseman. I can't remember any of these kids. I have no idea who's playing what. And as he does, and as he was good at, he had a good throw, threw it to me. And I put my glove up, and the ball just went straight over the glove. Didn't even touch the glove. I don't know if I lost it in the light or what, but that ball went straight into my face. And I think I did this like last second because it hit here and broke my glasses. It broke the stem right off. Done. And I'm blind. I cannot see I cannot function without my glasses. Mr. Magoo. Y'all know who Mr. Magoo is. That was me at age 16. And I was done. That was it. I couldn't play anymore. I couldn't see. I didn't have any spare glasses or anything. Bleeding. And that's how my career ended in baseball. And that was it. And I just remember I was so bummed because I was having such a good game. And when I think back on it, like if I would have never raised my hand to say, yes, I'll be a catcher, I probably would have had so much more fun. I could have been a better player if I maybe stuck with being a first baseman, which was really what I was best at, playing first. Who knows how much more fun I would have had and how better I would have been. Now, the last thing I want to talk about sort of out of the timeline is I had a pretty cool, what I'll call Sandlot moment. I don't know if you've seen the movie Sandlot, but most baseball movies that involve kids, it's all about being the hero, beating a friend, being better than another kid in your neighborhood, all that. And I actually had a real moment like that was fun. I can't remember which year it was, but it was in the Babe Ruth League. And I must have been catching because I played the full game. And the pitcher, his name was Joe Martin. And he lived in the neighborhood. And he was one of the bullies. Let's just put it that way. And I hung out with all the guys in the neighborhood. And we used to play wiffle ball in Kenny Bunker's front lawn, just 2 blocks from where I grew up. And it was just a plastic bat with a plastic ball, and we played wiffle ball. And I always stunk, and these other kids were always better, and they're always good. So now I'm playing a game, and the pitcher for the other team is this guy named Joe, this kid named Joe that I wasn't a fan of. We'll just say that. And he was a great pitcher. I mean, he had a very fast pitch. He had a strong arm. And I was always uncomfortable hitting. I guess the overall theme that I'm not mentioning is throughout all of my sports, I was always riddled with anxiety because I was always nervous about going up to bat. I was nervous about playing my position. Just always nervous. So it never was. So I would gather that was probably part of why I wasn't as good as others. But so I'm already nervous going into up to bat with this guy pitching. And I get a base hit. I have 4 at bats. First at bat, I get a base hit, first base. And right at the beginning, I could tell he was just like, really? But okay, you got lucky, Derek. Whatever, Derek, you got lucky. You got a little baseball hit. All right, cool. My next at bat, bam, I get another hit. Again, just a single. All I do is get to first base. But he's now like, man, I could tell his body language. He looks over at me. He's like, really? Derek got another hit off of me? Because I had no business getting hits off this guy. Let me just say that too. I had no business getting good hits off this guy. He was a great pitcher. And far less pitchers were striking me out all the time. So something is going on here, something magical, like a movie, right? So third at bat, not only do I get a hit, I hit it way out in the outfield and I get a double. So I circled first and I stop at second base. Now my team is like excited. Like I'm getting hits left and right here. So far I'm 3 for 3, 3-0 as they'd say. He's getting upset. He's frustrated. He can't understand what's going on. I think he's embarrassed. Let's be honest. It's one thing for a batter to get all these hits off him, but it's Derek. It's me hitting these pitches off of him. So that's awesome. Fourth at bat, another base hit, another single. So I got 3 singles and a double off this guy. And he couldn't, he had no answer for me. Every at bat I had against him, I got a hit. I guarantee you the next game I probably struck out 4 times in a row from some other pitcher. Who knows? But that's why that story sticks out to me, is because I had this magical game at bat, now getting base hits, against the kid that was kind of a bully that picked on me, you know, and he was definitely the alpha, you know. He was the bully. And on top of that, a great pitcher. So I had no business getting any hits off of him, and I hit 4 at-bats on him, and that was just fun. It's like a movie. It's like Sandlot. I was like, yeah, man, I got you back. And then that dream was short-lived. But all in good fun. I think baseball, or really just any youth league, is very important. I couldn't imagine what my childhood would have been like without sports. Even though I wasn't very good at it and I was riddled with anxiety the whole time, I never really felt totally comfortable. I still did it. It gave me something to do, got me out of the house. I played 5 years of youth basketball. I wrestled in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That I wasn't very good at either. And that was a very nerve-wracking sport to play too, but I did it. And I'm grateful for it. So awesome. I hope that was a fun story. We will, again, if you want to check out my Facebook group, it's Derek Mishu. The link's in the description. If you're interested in throwing me a tip, I have a Patreon page. Again, link in description. All it is $1 a month tier. If you just want to throw me a tip, like throwing $1 in a tip bucket. That's what that is. And all in good fun. So until next time, you all have a great day.